Have you ever stopped to think that while most people see trains as simple transportation, there exist machines on rails that defy logic, engineering, and imagination itself? Some locomotives are so enormous they look less like trains and more like industrial spacecraft built for another planet. Now picture this: a machine weighing over 660,000 pounds, pulling hundreds of freight cars across deserts, mountains, and frozen tundras without losing an ounce of power or balance. Ever wondered what the largest locomotive ever built looked like? Or which one was so heavy it needed reinforced tracks just to move safely? These beasts weren't born from fantasy, they're real. Monuments of steel created during times when the world demanded unmatched power, resilience, and innovation. So buckle up, because we're about to take a journey through the most monstrous locomotives ever built by mankind. And trust me, the last one on this list is so massive and so ancient, chances are you weren't even born when it first thundered down the rails. Union Pacific Big Boy. We've reached the top of the list, and here, there's no debate. The Union Pacific Big Boy remains the most iconic, most powerful, and most respected steam locomotive ever built. Constructed between 1941 and 1944 by the American Locomotive Company, or ALCO, the Big Boy wasn't just made to haul freight. It was built to conquer mountains, challenge the limits of engineering, and become a living legend of steel. Measuring a staggering 132 feet long and weighing over 1.2 million pounds when fully loaded with its tender, this monster was engineered specifically to dominate the Rocky Mountains, particularly the brutal grades of Sherman Hill between Wyoming and Utah. And here's the wild part: it was designed to do it without help from any additional locomotives. The Big Boy's steam system ran at internal pressures 20 times higher than normal air pressure, producing up to 6,300 horsepower. It used a 488 four-wheel configuration, meaning 2 sets of 8 driving wheels on an articulated frame, with leading and trailing wheels for stability. That design gave it the flexibility to take on tight mountain curves, a miracle for a locomotive of its size. And despite its enormous mass, the Big Boy could reach over 80 miles per hour, hauling heavy freight up steep grades, an incredible feat for a steam engine. That kind of raw power and efficiency made it a logistical dream for Union Pacific throughout the 1940s and 50s. Only 25 Big Boys were ever built, numbered 4,000 to 4,024. And here's a fun fact: the name Big Boy came from a factory worker who chalked it onto the side of the first unit during construction, and the nickname stuck forever. The story doesn't end there. In 2019, Union Pacific restored Big Boy number 4014 to full operational condition, making it the largest steam locomotive still running in the world. Today, it tours across the U.S., drawing massive crowds of photographers, rail fans, and families who gather just to witness it thunder by. When a Big Boy rolls past, the ground shakes. Steam clouds fill the air. The shriek of its whistle echoes through time, taking you straight back to the golden age of steam. Because this isn't just a machine. It's living history, roaring down the rails, a symbol of human ambition, perseverance, and engineering without limits. There may never be another locomotive like it. So now tell me, which of these giants blew your mind the most? Was it the legendary Big Boy, or the Soviet AA-20 with its 20 driving wheels? Let me know in the comments. EMD DDA40X Centennial. In 1969, the Union Pacific Railroad turned 100 years old, and instead of just throwing a party, they decided to make history with a diesel-electric locomotive unlike anything the world had ever seen. That locomotive was the EMD DDA40X, better known as the Centennial, and to this day, it holds the record as the most powerful diesel-electric locomotive ever built. Designed and manufactured by the Electro-Motive Division of General Motors, the Centennial stretched 98 feet in length and tipped the scales at around 600,000 pounds. But what made it truly monstrous was what sat inside 2 separate V16 diesel engines, each pumping out 3,300 horsepower for a combined output of 6,600 horsepower. That kind of power meant the Centennial could pull over 150 loaded freight cars on its own across some of the most punishing terrain in the American West. The idea was simple: replaced two standard locomotives with one less maintenance, more efficiency, and better fuel economy over long distances. It was a bold solution for a railroad known for hauling some of the heaviest loads in the world. With 8 powered axles, it had excellent traction for steep grades and long uninterrupted runs, and the dual cab setup made it more comfortable for long-haul crews with advanced, for the time instrumentation and more space for two-person teams. Its sound, imagine two diesel engines roaring in sync, a deep, guttural growl you could feel through the ground before you ever saw the train. When a Centennial passed by, you didn't just watch it, you experienced it. Union Pacific ordered 47 units, and although most were retired by the 1980s due to the complexity of their systems and high operating costs, several have been preserved. One standout example is on display at the Union Pacific Railroad Museum in Omaha, Nebraska, where it remains a fan favorite. The name Centennial was chosen to honor a century of westward rail expansion, and the locomotive lived up to the legacy. It wasn't just a celebration, it was a milestone in diesel-electric innovation. Soviet AA-21. When it comes to oversized engineering, few nations went bigger than the Soviet Union, and in 1934, that ambition gave birth to the AA-21, one of the most extreme steam locomotives ever created. Its purpose was simple: to be the largest and most powerful steam engine in the world, no matter the cost, practicality, or maintenance challenges. And large it was. The AA-21 measured an incredible 135 feet in length and weighed around 550,000 pounds. But the most astonishing part was its unprecedented 414 four-wheel arrangement, 20 driving wheels, more than any other steam locomotive in history. The idea was to spread the massive weight across more axles to reduce track wear while increasing traction for heavy freight hauls. Its massive boiler generated steam at pressures 20 times greater than the atmosphere, powering a system that produced roughly 4,200 horsepower. While that didn't make it the most powerful engine on paper, its engineering complexity was unmatched. It was a one-of-a-kind experiment built by Soviet engineers simply to prove they could. But in reality, the AA-21 was impractical from the start. It struggled to handle curves, demanded special tracks, and was nearly impossible to maintain. Even under perfect conditions, it was unreliable. The project was eventually scrapped, and only one AA-21 was ever built. Today, that single colossal machine survives as a museum exhibit in the Russian Railway Museum in St. Petersburg, standing as a monument to both Soviet ambition and engineering excess. Visitors from around the world come to witness its enormous frame and marvel at its mythic status. Despite never entering full service, the AA-21 endures as a legend of overreach born in an era when bigger always meant better, no matter the consequences. PRR S1, the big engine. Unveiled to the public in 1939, the PRR S1, famously known as the Big Engine, was one of the most ambitious and visually stunning locomotives ever to run on American rails. Built by the Pennsylvania Railroad, it was meant to be a showcase of speed, power, and futuristic design all in one. And while it delivered on all fronts, it came with serious drawbacks. Stretching an incredible 140 feet and weighing over 575,000 pounds, the S1 was the longest and heaviest passenger steam locomotive ever built in the United States. Its sheer size made it difficult to operate on standard routes. It couldn't handle tight curves and was only truly efficient on long, straight tracks. Beneath its sleek exterior, the engineering was just as impressive. Its high-pressure boiler operated at 20 times atmospheric pressure and powered a rare 6446 wheel configuration, producing up to 6,500 horsepower and pushing the S1 to speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour, an astonishing feat for a steam locomotive. But perhaps the most memorable part of the S1 was its appearance. Designed by the legendary industrial designer Raymond Loewy, the man behind the Greyhound bus and the Coca-Cola bottle, it featured elegant Art Deco styling with smooth curves, polished metal, and streamlined skirting that made it look more like a spacecraft than a train. When it debuted at the 1939 New York World's Fair, it was hailed as the train of tomorrow. However, only one S1 was ever built. Its enormous frame made maintenance a nightmare and limited its usability across most of the PRR network. It was officially retired in 1946 and later scrapped, but its legacy endured. Today, the PRR S1 remains a legend among rail historians and enthusiasts, celebrated not for practicality but for its audacity and unmatched beauty. It may not have revolutionized rail travel, but it forever changed how people imagined the future of locomotives. Bombardier Iore. Unveiled in 2000 by Bombardier Transportation, the Iore stands as one of the toughest and most powerful locomotives ever built. Designed to conquer the brutal Arctic conditions of Northern Europe, this engineering beast operates along the Malmbanan and Iron Ore line between Kiruna, Sweden, and Narvik, Norway, a route where blizzards, ice, and sub-zero temperatures are part of daily life. Each Iore locomotive consists of two permanently coupled units, stretching a combined 154 feet and weighing roughly 794,000 pounds. That immense size is no accident. It ensures perfect traction, balance, and unstoppable power, even on steep, frozen grades. Each unit packs 6 powered axles, 12 in total, driven by electric motors that generate an astounding 10,800 horsepower. What's even more impressive, the Iore runs entirely on renewable hydroelectric energy, making it both a powerhouse and a symbol of clean transportation. With its bright red livery, bold silhouette, and piercing LED headlights, it cuts through the Arctic landscape like a fiery streak against the snow. Over its lifetime, an Iore unit can log more than 2.5 million miles without major faults, equal to circling the Earth 100 times while hauling up to 8,000 metric tons of iron ore per trip. It's not just a locomotive, it's the backbone of the Scandinavian mining industry. The name Iore, short for iron ore, has since become synonymous with endurance and precision. For anyone who doubts that electric locomotives can have soul, just watch one glide through the silent, snow-covered wilds of Lapland. You'll feel the power and poetry of machinery in motion. Now, let's roll back in time to meet a train that was sleek, futuristic, and so far ahead of its era that it looked more like moving art than metal. China DF11G. When it comes to transportation, China doesn't just think big, it builds big. From speed to scale, everything is engineered to impress, and the DF11G locomotive is no exception. Introduced in 2004 by Kishuian Locomotive Works, the DF11G is a twin-unit diesel-electric powerhouse created for long-distance passenger routes in areas where electrified lines were still limited. Together, its two permanently connected units stretch 144 feet and weigh about 680,000 pounds. Each unit is powered by a V16 diesel engine, combining for a total output of more than 6,400 horsepower. The mission behind the DF11G was simple yet ambitious: to haul massive passenger trains swiftly, smoothly, and independently across China's vast rail network. Its extended frame wasn't just for aesthetics, it enhanced traction, stability, and balance at high speeds, allowing this machine to cruise comfortably at over 100 mph, making it one of the fastest diesel locomotives ever used for passenger service. From the outside, the DF11G is both bold and futuristic. Its wedge-shaped nose, dual headlights, and sleek aerodynamic body allow it to slice through the wind with grace and efficiency. The deep, thunderous growl of its engines announces its approach long before it comes into view, a sound that rail fans across China recognize instantly. Even today, the DF11G continues to operate on long-distance routes linking major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Harbin, especially in regions not yet fully electrified. Its durability and reliability inspired a new generation of diesel locomotives, setting a standard for modern passenger rail performance. And while high-speed electric trains may dominate headlines, the DF11G remains a symbol of mechanical endurance and raw diesel power. Allegheny H8. Imagine a locomotive so mighty it was engineered to dominate the steepest grades of the Appalachian Mountains, dragging hundreds of tons of coal through tight curves, slippery tracks, and brutal terrain. That powerhouse was the Allegheny H8. Built in 1941 by the Lima Locomotive Works for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, famously known as the C&O, this colossal machine measured an incredible 125 feet in length and weighed over 1 million pounds when fully fueled and ready to run. Designed as an articulated steam locomotive with a 2666-wheel configuration, it featured two sets of 6 massive driving wheels, guided by front and rear axles for balance. This engineering allowed it to navigate winding routes while still delivering raw, unrelenting strength. Its enormous boiler operated at pressures 20 times higher than the atmosphere, generating an astounding 7,500 horsepower, enough to pull up to 160 fully loaded freight cars up steep mountain grades without assistance, a feat almost unheard of at the time. But the Allegheny wasn't just powerful, it was unforgettable. The haunting sound of its whistle echoing through misty valleys, the thunder of its pistons, and the towering clouds of steam made it a true spectacle of the steam era. It didn't just transport cargo, it commanded the landscape. Yet, as the 1950s arrived, the age of steam gave way to diesel-electric innovation, and many Allegheny units were retired before reaching 2 decades of service. Today, only 2 survive, with one proudly displayed at the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan, where it continues to amaze visitors with its immense power and beauty. The Allegheny H8 remains a towering symbol of an era when railroads were defined by sheer force and engineering ambition before diesel engines changed the game forever. GAC 6000 CW. In the mid-1990s, when American railroads demanded more power, greater efficiency, and unmatched durability, General Electric responded with a machine that pushed the limits of what diesel-electric locomotives could do. Enter the GAC 6000 CW, unveiled in 1995, a true titan of steel and engineering. For a time, it held the crown as the most powerful diesel-electric locomotive in commercial service anywhere in the world. Measuring 75 feet in length and weighing around 432,000 pounds, this beast was built with one purpose: to haul massive freight loads across vast distances. It became a favorite for heavy coal and/or routes in the U.S. and Canada. The name said it all: AC for its advanced alternating current traction system and 6000 for its astonishing 6,000 horsepower output. That power came from a specially built V16 engine displacing over 7,000 liters, driving traction motors capable of pulling over 100 loaded railcars with ease. In fact, its sheer strength forced some test tracks to be reinforced just to handle it. GE's 7HDL16 engine was developed exclusively for this model, setting a new benchmark in AC traction technology that would later define the next generation of locomotives. Visually, the AC 6000 CW was a powerhouse, bold, boxy, and muscular, often dressed in striking yellow, blue, or red liveries depending on the railroad. Its cab was reinforced for added crew protection and comfort. At full throttle, it roared like rolling thunder, deep, steady, and impossible to ignore. Union Pacific and CSX became its biggest operators, but despite its groundbreaking design, the AC 6000 CW's reign was short-lived. High maintenance demands, fuel consumption, and mechanical complexity eventually led to its phase-out in favor of newer, more efficient models. Still, a number of these giants remain active today on heavy-duty routes or preserved by enthusiasts. Rail fans affectionately dubbed it the land barge, a nickname that perfectly captured its size, strength, and unshakable stability. Siemens Vectron Dual Mode XL. Officially introduced in 2020, the Siemens Vectron Dual Mode XL is redefining the future of European rail transport. Built in Germany, this locomotive was engineered for maximum flexibility, capable of operating seamlessly on both electrified and non-electrified tracks while keeping emissions and operating costs low. In essence, it's a hybrid powerhouse that blends electric efficiency with diesel reliability. Stretching 92 feet in length and weighing around 270,000 pounds, the Vectron Dual Mode XL was built to handle medium to heavy freight over long distances without ever needing a power change. Inside its extended frame are 2 complete propulsion systems, a cutting-edge 16-cylinder diesel engine producing 3,200 horsepower on one side, and a full electric drive system with converters and transformers on the other. What makes it remarkable is its automatic transition. When it moves onto an electrified section, the diesel engine shuts down and the electric motors take over so smoothly the operator barely feels a difference. The cab is fully digital, featuring real-time diagnostics, automated controls, and regenerative braking that sends power back to the grid during deceleration. Visually, the Vectron Dual Mode XL turns heads with its aerodynamic design, sharp LED headlights, and metallic finish that looks at home slicing through snow or mist. Sound-wise, it's a chameleon on diesel. It delivers a deep, throaty rumble, while in electric mode it glides nearly silent, perfect for city environments. Currently in operation across Germany, Austria, Sweden, and Hungary, it's become the go-to choice for long-haul freight operators seeking efficiency, sustainability, and performance. Its success has even inspired model train makers to replicate it in HO scale, a testament to how quickly it's earned legendary status. Think 3,200 horsepower is impressive? The next locomotive doubles that power with pure diesel muscle and a design that looks more like a fortress on rails. South African Railways Class 25. Introduced in 1953, the South African Railways Class 25 was one of the final and most remarkable achievements of the steam era. Built collaboratively by the North British Locomotive Company and Henschel and Sohn, this massive machine was designed to dominate the demanding conditions of South Africa's semi-arid regions, particularly the unforgiving Karoo Desert, where scorching temperatures and limited water supply pushed traditional steam engines to their limits. What made the Class 25 revolutionary was its advanced condensing system, which captured and recycled used steam back into water, dramatically reducing water consumption and allowing it to travel nearly 600 miles without refueling, a groundbreaking capability for its time. Measuring roughly 112 feet long including its tender and weighing close to 460,000 pounds, the locomotive's immense size was necessary to accommodate the condensers, extra pipework, large coal reserves, and reinforced boiler. Its sleek, streamlined tender gave it a futuristic appearance, looking more like a passenger car than a freight hauler. Powered by a boiler operating at pressures 20 times greater than sea-level air pressure, the Class 25 delivered exceptional strength through its 4/8 wheel arrangement, balancing traction, stability, and agility even on uneven terrain. For decades, it was the pride of South Africa's rail network, hauling both freight and passenger trains through harsh, remote landscapes. Even as diesel and electric locomotives began to take over, the Class 25 continued to serve well into the 1980s. Many were later converted into the 25NC variant, which removed the condensing system for use in water-rich regions. Today, several examples are preserved in museums and heritage railways, still admired for their innovative design and mechanical brilliance. The sound of its hissing boiler, sharp whistle, and rhythmic exhaust remains a haunting echo of steam's golden age. But if you think this was the peak of innovation, the next locomotive takes rail technology into a new era, combining diesel and electric power in one extraordinary hybrid machine. Which one would you love to see or even drive in real life? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out. Every week, we explore the most extraordinary machines ever built, from snow to steam, steel to speed. Thanks for riding with us, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.